We're doing a little bit more work on the jeepyj today, trying to get this thing roadworthy. Hey, welcome back. We're working on this old YJ Jeep today, and today I want to change the tensioner pulley. There's a couple things about doing this that are not particularly intuitive, and I'm just going to show you what I have learned about this serpentine belt and this pulley. First of all, the tensioner pulley should not be doing this. That's a bad bearing, and so that needs to go. We don't want that thing flopping off of there somehow, and then I lose my serpentine belt, which means I lose my water pump and cooling, and that would be the biggest risk to the motor if it overheats. So we're going to get that changed out today. So on the other side of the motor, there is a power steering pump right here, and the power steering pump is the means to loosen and tighten the belt and make adjustments to it. And let me just show you how many points on here you have to mess with in order to get this adjustment loose. This is the actual bolt that adjusts the tension. The tensioner locks in the front with a bolt, and then you come around the other side and there is a slide bolt on the top, and then another arced groove for the slide bolt on the bottom. So there are actually 4 bolts you have to loosen and adjust to get that to swing down properly to loosen your serpentine belt and remove the tension from it. We're going to do that first before we remove the pulley. They are all 1/2 inch. The first nut is the lockout for the actual adjuster, and we're just going to loosen that up a little bit here. The second nut on top of the power steering pump has a small slide, and it has to be loosened for it to adjust. The bottom bolt also has a slide, and it must be loosened to remove the tension on the serpentine belt. So before you use the adjustment bolt to move the power steering pump, there's one more bolt that's going to be locking it up, and that's this little hinge bolt right here. So I'm going to loosen that. That is the actual pivot point for the power steering pump. So right down here. Now I'm going to get in there and move the adjustment bolt, and we're going to loosen it up so that the serpentine belt is loose. The actual nut for the pulley is a 15 millimeter. here's the old one. Here's the new one. Everything looks pretty much the same. Size looks the same. Bearing doesn't have any play in the new one. Bearing in the old one, you can just feel it. I actually kind of like the hardware from the old one versus the hardware from the new one. I like that. And then this side, just see, here's the old hardware that fits it on. Here's the new hardware. One gives you a little bit better clearance. You can see how it's tapered away from the rest of the pulley. And then this fits on the other side, just a washer. Allows the bearing to spin without making contact with the bracket. So just gonna put this back on. The bigger diameter mounting piece on the old hardware actually will buy you a little bit more time if you have bearing failure and you're about to lose your pulley. It'll actually give you a little more time. If you fail to hear the bearing go, maybe you'll hear the screech from that pulley scraping on that shroud. We're going to move back over to the other side and reverse this process. See if we can get this tensioned up right now without a wobble. Well, that is how you put the finishing touches on changing out your tensioner pulley and getting your serpentine belt tensioned back how it should be.